What is up, tribe? What is up? This is your review of Pose, season 1, episode 3. First off, I want to say, and I neglected to say it in my last video for Housewives of Potomac, congratulations to Monique Samuel. She just announced on social media that she is expecting her third child. So congratulations. I meant to say that during the video, but I forgot. So I wanted to say it. It is Christmas time in Poe's world, okay? So everything is Christmas. We start off by seeing Blanca and her children decorating the house. Damon is in heaven. He said, look, Christmas was the only time I could be who I was and my parents didn't trip. Because I could be a sugar plum fairy in the school play. I could dress in crazy clothes. He said, and my father would laugh when in another situation he would beat my ass. So and then Angel tells a story about Christmas time and how she was with her dad and she saw these pair of red pumps that were, she said, the most gorgeous thing she had ever seen in her life. And she stole one of the pumps, took it home, had it hidden under her coat, got home and the pump fell out. And her parents saw it. And she said her father beat her. He said for stealing. She said, but it was more for what I chose to steal. And she said, and from that day forward, my parents never treated me the same. Everything was different. And she sort of runs out. You see, it's real emotional for her. Then we're at the ball, darling. We are at the ball, and Angel walks in that ball, and it's a face category. And Angel slays that shit, and she wins the prize. She wins the grand prize. Then we have high class, best dressed in a fur coat. Okay? They got real specific. And Damon is getting Ricky to walk. Damon is like, you need to walk in this ball. In order for you to be in the house, you gotta walk, you gotta be at the ball scene, and I want you to try to join the house. Damon's trying to get Ricky in the house of abundance. Evangelista. And Blanca is peeping it. She sees them all cutesy and kissing and stuff. She peeps it, and then Ricky walks, and he's got this fur coat on, and he does it too, y'all. He does the damn thing, and he ends up winning. He wins a trophy. So later on that night, we see them out to dinner. Damon, Ricky, and Blanca. And Ricky asks if he can join the house, and Blanca says, "Well, where'd you get that fur coat from?" He was like, "Oh, it was my grandmother." She was like, "Don't lie to me. I can't. Don't do it. I can't do it. I can't do a liar." And he told her he mocked it, aka stole it. And she said, that's not what I want here. I'm trying to build a legacy. I'm not trying to have that in my house. Those are my rules. And so you see Damon looking real disappointed because he thinks that, Blanca's going to say no. But Blanca agrees to give him a trial, a trial run. And the winter ball is going to be where she decides whether he can become a full-fledged member or not. Oh, they made an announcement that the winter ball was coming, and that was going to be like the biggest, baddest thing, So like everybody's getting ready for the winter ball. Everything is for this winter ball. So Ricky has a trial run in the house, right? Oh, and I meant to say this last week. If y'all haven't peeped it, that Janet Mock is one of the judges. Peep it, peep it. She's also, one of the executive directors and, help with the show and all that good stuff. But it's just cute that she's one of the judges at the balls. So we see this very interesting scene where we see Praytel. He's getting on the elevator. He's looking very stoic. And then we see Ricky's dance instructor get on the elevator as well. They're at a hospital. Now, of course, they don't know each other. We know both of them. They don't know each other. And they ride on the elevator quiet. They don't speak to each other. They just, get off the elevator, sign in, one goes left, one goes right. They're on the AIDS wing of the hospital. And Praytel is visiting his boyfriend, who is in the hospital with pneumonia, but of course he also has the virus. You see that the nurses won't even go in his room. The nurses won't even bring his food. The food is sitting outside as if this pneumonia patient can get up and walk over and get his food. So Praytel brings the food in. Then we see that his gown is just dirty. The room is dirty. It's unkempt. And of course, that's how they treated AIDS patients. That was the norm. Nurses didn't want to treat them or touch them or be around them. Everybody was afraid they were going to get sick and all that stuff. So again, they're bringing that real what was going on at the time in this community, and what they had to deal with. Then we see the dance instructor. She's going to visit one of her former students who is sick, who has the virus. And we see him dancing, and he's kind of delirious. He doesn't even know who she is. And he sort of pushes her, but she knows he doesn't mean it. They get him back in bed and everything. And, she's just talking to him. And that's when I wasn't sure if it was a student, if it was a family member or something, but that's when we found out it was a student, and she's talking to him. And it was just a really deep scene to see both of them dealing with the same situation with friends, and how it was handled. I thought it was very deep, and I thought it was well handled. Then we see Pray Tell talking to Blanca. He's getting her ready for the winter ball. And the conversation comes up where Blanca says, well, what's going on with the dude that you met that works for the city? And Pray Tell sort of says, well, she asked him what he's doing for Christmas. That's how they get on the conversation. And he said, I'll probably just go watch a movie, nothing big. And she said, well, what's up with the dude you told me you were dating? What's going on with that? And he's like, well, it's all, he's in the hospital. And Blanca's like, what's going on? He's like, well, pneumonia, no big deal. But Pray Tell is really not trying to have the conversation with Blanca because, of course, he's trying to be sensitive to Blanca's situation. But Blanca gets them together. She's like, look, do you know how many times I've had to have a conversation about HIV and people dying and people being sick? Like, don't walk on eggshells around me. What's going on, Pray Tell? What's up? And I thought that the conversation was so deep, right? Pray Tell starts talking about, I wrote it down because what he said I thought was just deep. He said that the worst part is I'm used to it. And then he went on to talk about how many boyfriends that he's dated in the last 4 years that died. And he just goes on to talk about, just that gives you a glimpse of how the virus affected the community, which you know, but you don't know, right? If you weren't in that community at that time, and the fear that came along with the virus, and every time somebody coughed, you thinking, oh my God, they're sick, or just the lies about how you can catch it and all that stuff that was going on back then. Like, I remember, I was a child then, but I remember the fear. And so they have that conversation, and it's just really real. It's just really deep. It's a deep conversation. Y'all need to see it. Excuse me. So then we scan over to Miss Angel, who was moving into her new apartment. Stan, I finally got his name right, y'all. I think I called him John in the first episode. In the second episode, I think I was calling him Andy. His name is Stan. My bad. But Stan is showing Angel to her new apartment. This apartment is nice. It's got up-to-date appliances, which includes a microwave, because y'all know back then, microwaves, I was like, oh my God, you got a microwave, girl? And it's a nice apartment. It's a really, really nice apartment. And so, Angel's all excited and happy, and Angel says to him, she says, look, I know on Christmas Day, you're going to be with your family. I get that. But can you just come by and just have a drink with me? So glass of eggnog, something. Angel, you getting caught up already, boo. Know your place. You are the mistress. You are the other woman. You don't get holidays, boo. You get the day before, you get the day after, but you do not get the holiday. So Christmas is not yours. You might get the day after Christmas. You might even slide in a Christmas Eve, but you're not going to get the holiday. And you were wrong for asking. He was wrong for saying yes. And we already know how that was going to turn out. But neither here nor there. Then they end up actually having sex for the first time. And the producers were very specific to show that they used a condom. And the reason why I say that is because something else that happens, and I'm going to bring it up, but they showed them using a condom, but they actually have sex, which is, interesting, since up to that point, I think all they've done is kiss. So, from that point, we move into, shoot, I forgot. Oh, Damon is now choreographing the kids for the ball, right? He's getting them ready for the ball. Rewind. The dance instructor, they show the dance instructor having class, and she gets called out of class. She gets a phone call, and it's the hospital calling her to tell her that the young man she had gone to go visit, he had passed away. And she really didn't have any family to contact. She basically was his family. I'm sure his story was probably the same, that his family probably disowned him or something to that effect. So of course, so now she's dealing with that. We see Damon trying to choreograph the house and trying to get them a routine together for the winter ball, and all that good stuff. They, for the exception of Angel, they can't dance. Damon realizes he's late for class. He runs out. He ends up being late for class. He comes in, and the dance teacher, who's already grieving, she is grieving for her student who passed away, and grieving for just the injustice of it all, just the whole thing, that whole situation. She takes it out on Damon. And Damon tells her, he's like, no, this is where I want to be. I'm sorry that I'm late. Like, he talks back, but not in a rude way, but he does sort of talk back. And she tells him, look, then you can leave. Like, if you're not serious about this, because he mentioned balls, and the minute he mentioned balls, she put him out. So I don't know if her student walked in balls, and it's something with her and these balls that she doesn't like. She doesn't respect them. And when he said something about he was getting ready for his ball, she said, oh, that's all you want? Like, that's the extent of what you want for yourself? This isn't the place for you. You got to go. Like, we're here trying to create dreams. We're here doing some real dancing. Was basically her attitude. So she puts Damon out. Then we see Stan at the office. We see his boss flirting with the secretaries and stuff. And all of a sudden, he sees this meeting with all the big wigs coming out. And remember, he works for Trump. So it's interesting. Something's funny is getting ready to happen. We see all of the big wigs come out, and here comes Stan with the big wigs, right? So his boss calls him over. He was like, was that an executive meeting? Stan was like, yeah, He said, well, what were you doing in there? Stan said, I had this really great idea that all these movie companies are starting to come to us and wanting to use our properties. And I had this really great idea that if they want to use the properties, they have to agree to let the boss be a cameo in the movie or the TV show. Now, remember, he works for Trump. I remember how back in the day, Trump was in everything. He had cameos like Home Alone and all these other movies. You always saw Trump. I thought that was interesting. A little cheeky that they threw that in there. But you see his boss ain't really feeling it. His boss was like, why you ain't run that by me? And Stan was like, well, it was no big deal. I just had an idea. Stan doesn't realize that, one, you breaking the chain of command. Like, if he's your immediate supervisor, that's who you go to. Two, now the dude is jealous because you were in the room. Like, he was outside flirting with the secretaries while you were in the meeting. And Stan even told him, he was like, you should have, why didn't you come to the meeting? Which kind of threw it back at his boss, which makes me think that you should have been in that meeting, or you had an opportunity to be in the meeting and you chose to be out here flirting. So it's all about your priorities. But I knew right then, I was like, okay, that's about to be a problem between him and his boss. Miss Electra. I know I love me some Electra. I love her for all the right reasons. But Electra's at the doctor. Come to find out, she has an opportunity. She was in a clinical trial with a doctor at one point, I think, to help her get ready for her surgery. And it didn't happen. She did a lot of other things, hormones and things of that nature with this doctor. But she never had the full sex change surgery. And I wasn't quite clear specifically, but I'm thinking she didn't have the money. Like, that's kind of what it boils down to. I think she just didn't have the money to go through with the full-fledged, finish up everything. So the doctor is like, look, we kind of got pushed aside for a while because the hospital, when the doctor died, the hospital really didn't want to continue with that work. And then they got inundated with AIDS patients. So we kind of been pushed aside, but we're back now. And you're at the top of the list. You're a prime candidate, for your surgery. And Electra's like, wow, well, how much will it cost? And she said, well, you go talk to my nurse. She'll break because, the doctors don't get into the money. So she said, go ahead and talk to my nurse. She'll break down the cost and all of that. Ain't no insurance, right? You know what I'm saying? So we see Electra at the house thinking, pondering. Her children come home talking about, they have a wreath, it looks seems like the House of Abundance don't decorate for no Christmas, right? And she was like, what the hell is that? And they were like, a wreath, like it's Christmas. So they get to talking about Christmas and stuff like that, and they get to saying, why can't your sugar daddy hit us up with a few dollars so that we can, decorate the house a little bit? And she goes off on them talking about, do you think that he just gives me carte blanche? Like, I'm not one of the rich white women that just got an Amex card with an unlimited balance. He accounts for every penny he gives me. Yes, he takes care of me well, but it's not no free for all. And what I do manage to steal away, I put into the House of Abundance to keep the lights on and all. Like, she goes off on them, so they looking at her like, all right, damn. She said, well, look, I got an idea. Let's have Christmas. We're going to have Christmas. So, yeah, I know Electra always be running them stunts. She always be pulling them stunts. She didn't set up that they going to rob the Salvation Army man, right? The Santa that stand outside the department stores ringing the damn bell all through Christmas, and you put the money in the little red tin. They done robbed them. She had got daggone chain cutters, and she done cut the daggone can, and they done run off. But here's the thing: in a bright red fur coat, with a red suit and a red fur hat, she is pulling stunts. Do you hear me? See, that's why I like Electra. Electra said, God damn it, I'm going to steal, but I'm going to look good doing it. They get back to the house, they count the money, they got $2,300 now. I'll take $2,300 now, 2018, but certainly in 1985, I'll take $2,300. So, of course, they talking about all the things they're going to do with this money. Like, they were like, shoot, forget about buying decorations. We got real money. Like, we can go shopping. We can go get some nice outfits. They talking about some boots they want. Like, all of this stuff. And Electra said, that's right, daughters. I'm going to make sure that you get everything you want for Christmas. She takes that daggone $2,300. She goes back to that doctor's office. She lays that money on the counter and says, that should be more than enough for my surgery. Honey. Then we see Blanca and the dance instructor. Her name is Helena St. Charles. And Blanca lets her know, look, I chose my children. These are not my blood children, but I chose them. And I know that he's young. Basically, look, I know that he's young, and he was wrong for being late for class, but look, what's this really about? And the instructor starts talking about, he's walking in these balls, and we're trying to prepare him, and all, more for the long term, not just an immediate gratification of walking a runway and getting a trophy. Blanca said, now we can talk about Damon, but what you're not going to do, you're not going to put down my world. That's what you're not going to do. And so, like I said, she got a crawl on her ass for the ball scene. I don't know if that young man was connected to it or what. But she went on to tell Blanca, look, at the end of the semester, I'm making cuts. And as of right now, Damon doesn't make it. He's getting cut. So Blanca goes back home, and she basically lets him know, look, she doesn't tell him that, because I'm sure she doesn't want to crush his spirits or put too much more on him. But she said, look, here's a bus pass, here's some tokens. Don't you ever use anything. You don't have any excuse to be late for class ever again. She was like, and you are not focused. You are off track between Ricky and the balls and everything else. So this is what I'm about to do. You are now on punishment. No balls for a month. Damon was like, after the winter ball, right? She said, no balls for a month. Damon throws a tantrum. Do you hear me? You know how much Christmas means to me. I told you how much this means to me. How could you do this to me? I hate you. And you can't stop me. I'm going to walk anyway. Blanca says, you're right, I can't stop you. But what I can do is throw your shit out the window if you walk in that ball. And then he puffs and she says, so now you go to your room. And honey, he storms like a little kid. Like he really had a full-blown tantrum like a little kid. And stomped off. It was funny. Then we see Stan Christmas shopping. And I knew what he was going to do before he did it. He's got his daughter with him. He's at the jewelry store. He's buying something for his wife. But then he decides he wants to buy something for Angel. Because the salesperson is like, look, what does the woman look like? Who are you buying for? What is her complexion? Because the type of jewelry you buy depends on the complexion of the skin. And so, of course, he says, well, she's pale, she's this, she's that. He gets her white gold. He sends the little girl out in the mall to play, and he asks the salesman, well, what's the best color for another, what's the best type of jewelry for another complexion? Like Puerto Rican, maybe. So the salesman hits him with the wink, wink. Oh, okay, I get it. You buying this for your other, for your mistress. I got you. And he ends up buying two gifts. And I was like, damn, you couldn't even wait till your daughter wasn't around? Like, really? Like, that's real dirty, dude. So while all of this is going on, his wife is at home. His boss stops by with a bunch of damn gifts, talking about he just happened to be, he shops in Jersey because the sales tax is cheaper, and he figured he'd save himself a trip and go ahead and drop the gifts off. And the wife is like, why are you here? Like, what do you want? She said something to the effect of, I feel like he's married to you. Y'all spend so much time together. And of course the boss was like, I don't keep him after hours. What are you talking about? Bitch. So now, of course, she's looking at him like, really? He was like, yeah, but I'm not his only boss. He does answer to other people. Like, throwing that out there. And then he kisses his wife. And wife was slick with it. Wife was like, you've kissed all these supermodels and you still don't do it very well. And he was like, oh, well, next time I'll try harder. I'll be better. She said there will not be a next time. But, of course, what he came to do, he did. He got him thinking. He got him, he has her thinking that the husband is cheating on her, which was his whole purpose for going over there. And the husband shows up, with the little girl. They were out, from Christmas shopping. And he's like, dude, what are you doing here? Why are you at my house? And so he walks him to the door and he's like, look, the next time you feel the need to come by my house, you call me first. Like, he knows that something ain't right. Like, and he asked his wife, like, what was all that about? And the wife said, well, he said it. He told you. He just came by to bring the gifts. Little bitch. So then we see the winter ball, darling. Oh, I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm wrong. Angel walked in the winter ball and won the trophy. It wasn't at the beginning. My bad. Oops, sorry. But Angel walks in the winter ball and she wins first place. And she looked beautiful. She looked stunning. But Damon did not show his ass up at that ball like mother told him to. And she goes back home and, Damon is like, look, she said, I'm sorry. It hurt me to my heart not to let you walk in that ball. Damon was like, no, you're right. Like, you're right. I've been losing focus and, but your decision, I respect that decision. And then Damon starts talking about how he wished he could go back to a time when he was just innocent. He said, I don't want to go back home. I don't want to go back to my family. But just that moment before I really knew how cruel the world really was, And him and Blanca have a moment, they have a moment and you can see that, all is forgiven, all that's in the past. But he respects, he said, you did the right thing, He said, you're a good mother. And you see where he really respects that she did it and why she did it. And like I said, he never told her, she never told him that you about to lose your spot at this damn dancing school. But he understands he needs to refocus. So now it's Christmas morning. And Damon feeds Ricky breakfast in bed. And Ricky has a gift for Damon. Ricky bought Damon a Walkman. Oh, Lord, I remember my first Walkman. Like, this stuff gets me so nostalgic. I remember my first Walkman, y'all. Oh, my gosh. And Damon gives Ricky his virginity. I guess that was an even trade. But you don't see a condom. And these producers are very specific. I don't think it was by accident. I don't think it was an accident that they didn't show that they used a condom. I could be wrong. I could be reading too much into it. But I'm thinking that there's something to that. So, you see that whole thing with them making love. Then we pan over to Stan. It's Christmas morning at Stan's house, and they got all their gifts, and the little girls got their games and stuff. His mother-in-law's a bitch, she's a bitch. Sitting there smoking her cigarette, being evil. He goes in the kitchen. He's like, whoa, your mommy missed one of her gifts. He goes in the kitchen, wife being all cold. He's like, what's up? And she was like, you're cheating on me. What's up with that? And they start having an argument. Grandma's like, look, let's go. Y'all need to get out of here. Mommy and daddy, they need a moment. She was like, what would Christmas be without a fight? I'm like, his mother-in-law's a bitch. So, what's funny though is Stan is slick. Like, I thought Stan was kind of dumb. Stan ain't dumb. He's slick. So everything she had to throw at him, he had a counter argument. She was like, your boss told me, I forget the dude's name. Your boss told me that he's not calling you to work these late nights. Where you been? Is that where you been going? You been leaving me to go see your mistress? And he was like, he's not my only boss. He was like, I answered to like 30 dudes. He's not the only person that asks me to work late. He's not the only person that makes me, do these different crazy hours. So, she's starting to thaw a little bit. She was like, well, your daughter told me about the two gifts. You couldn't even wait until your daughter wasn't around to buy a gift for your mistress. You had to do it all at the same time. And I was thinking the same thing. That slick ass Stan. He done gave her the gift talking about, see, look, I bought you the bracelet and the necklace. That's the second gift that she saw. It was for you, baby. So, of course, wife feels stupid. She apologizes. They make up. She was like, I just, these crazy hours just have me all crazy. I'm used to having you all to myself. I just don't know what to do. So I know then, I'm like, well, Angel, he can't get out the house now because he ain't got no lie to tell. Like, he got to be good for a minute. And of course, they show Angel getting ready for him. She's baking cookies and dancing all around the apartment and did her makeup up and everything. And he didn't show up. Which I knew he wasn't going to show up because mistresses don't get holidays. That's just part of the rule. Find the book. It's in there. Don't get no holidays. So now we're at the house of Evangelista and they are celebrating Christmas. It's Christmas night. And, Blanca is like, look, because Angel's all in the mood. Blanca's like, look, you still mad about your rich white boy that didn't show up? She was like, get over it. Like, and she told her, she was like, look, you was expecting more than you should have been expecting. Don't, just get over that shit. Let's have fun. It's Christmas. We're going to move in. Move on. Lord, Blanca burns the damn turkey. They throw it out the window. It's on fire. And they sitting there like, well, what the hell we going to eat now? So they end up going to a restaurant. She done tore the food up, y'all. So they end up going to a restaurant and they exchange their gifts. And Blanca, I love Christmas. Christmas is, other than my birthday, Christmas is my favorite time of the year. And part of the reason why I love Christmas is because I love giving gifts to people that they will appreciate, that will mean something to them. And Blanca did that. Blanca bought gifts for all of them that it was either something they wanted or something that meant something to them. The two most special gifts I feel like she gave was the one to Pray Tell. She gave him a camera. And she told him, she said, before I met you, my life was in black and white. And you helped me put it in focus and move it into color. And now I see in color. And, that's all because of you. And, of course, he breaks down crying and, it gets all mushy mush. And then she gives Angel a gift. And Angel was like, look, I told you I ain't want nothing. And Angel's one of them people that I hate. It took her forever to open up that damn box because she had to be all prissy and I can't stand people who it take them forever to open up a box. Who was it? Who was it? It was something recently. Who is one of my relatives? I swear, I don't know. I can't remember. I promise you, it takes her 30 minutes to open up the box, and then she wants. Oh, my aunt. Then she wants to save the paper. What you saving the paper for? But when Angel opens up the gift, it's a pair of red pumps. So that's kind of where we end. They give Blanca a gift. They give her a necklace with a heart on it because they said that's what you are to all of us. And it's a really nice episode. Y'all know, once again, Pose, you did it. You did it. You hit it out the park. So y'all have a good evening. Y'all let me know what y'all think in them comments. Peace.